Well, good afternoon, guys. Got a video here I've been meaning to do for a while. It's a new player guide, the subject on currencies. So this was very hotly requested. Here's a message from one of you all. EGG says, one thing that often gets me confused when trying out a new MMO is the amount of currencies, because the more an MMO is old, the more currencies it's going to have. So a quick jab at the wallet, what currencies to focus on and ignore early on, could be a huge help for new players, I think. I think you're right. I think the currencies are really intimidating when you pick up a new game. I think that Guild Wars is absolutely filled with them. And actually, I think the game gives people a really bad impression. Like, the new player experience is you turn on your inventory, you look at the currencies tab, you see this huge list of stuff. Maybe you go to your bank. I've got my bank just over here. And you know about your regular storage. Maybe you make the mistake of clicking into your materials storage, and you're going to look at all of this stuff and just think, oh my god, I can't possibly get all of this. I'm not going to be able to play this game. And finding information is a pain in the ass when, you know, it's a decade worth of updates. Here's the thing though, I think that the tendency, for me at least, I know, is when you pick up a game, you look at all the currencies, you think they're all valid all the time and they're all relevant all the time. But that's actually not true, particularly in Guild Wars. Currencies, for the most part, are really specific tools for very specific areas of the game, and therefore you can basically ignore most of them until you get to the area where they're relevant, where the game's actually quite good at making it clear, okay, this currency now matters. So in this video, I'm going to show you the ones that are useful, how to handle them, and just teach you about the UI, because I actually think the UI is pretty good and it can be easy to miss a lot of stuff. What this video isn't is an exhaustive guide to every currency, what you can buy from it, the most efficient ways of gathering that. There is a wiki. If you're looking for that information, I suggest you go for that. And I guess that means veterans won't get too much value from this video, but it is a new player guide, and I think what's important is we just talk about the main stuff. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to open your inventory. First thing you'll notice at the bottom of your inventory, right near the resize arrows, they're always giving you a list of some currencies. So for me, in a capital city interior, which is a totally generic map, it's given me, basically, on screen, some of the most important currencies in the game. You've got gold. Gold is pretty obvious to understand if you've played any other RPG. You've got karma, you've got this here called laurels, and you've got gems. Now, here's the thing. If I go to another map, let's say we jump ourselves... Do I have any expansion maps on this character? I do. Let's say we jump to the first expansion, Path of Fire. When I open my inventory now, you'll see, well, as soon as this loading screen's done, the icons that are available have changed. We're now looking at gold, and they've got rid of some of the really generic stuff, and instead we're looking at trade contracts, which is a Path of Fire currency for Path of Fire stuff. We can see keys here, which we use to open chests in Path of Fire. And then we also see energy mosaics, which are a special currency for kind of big rewards, all in Path of Fire. So you can always see the stuff that matters here. And if you're ever curious about it, you can go to your chat box, you can type /wiki and then traders key, for example, and it will open up your web browser teaching you all about the traders keys if that's what you like. So the first thing you have to understand is that is context dependent. That is changing. So the other thing is we can look at the currencies themselves and really dive in. So you're going to click this button here. It's called the wallet. And it's another form of your inventory in which you can scroll through all the different stuff in the game. So basically what currencies are is a lot of the times they used to be items in the game, but it was annoying having them flood your inventory. So now they're just like, you know, special areas of the inventory that you can stack to like an almost infinite amount of the number, right? So you see I have 6 million karma here basically. If we scroll down, you'll see a bunch of like dungeon tokens. Instead of having these, you know, manifestos in my inventory, they're simply as a currency. That's the whole idea of the feature. So if you're not in the dungeons, obviously that doesn't matter very much. So what you want to do is pay attention to this drop-down box at the top. And that splits the currencies into different categories. You've got black line currencies, which if we click, suddenly you'll see there's only 2. Dungeons, keys, map currencies, competitive currencies, so that's PvP and World versus World, and I know a lot of people watching this video will never play those game types, so all of this can be disregarded. And then finally, general. So general is the main one to care about. Let's run through what general offers. First of all, at the very top, they've got gems. Gems are what you use to buy anything in the gem store, where quite often they put the flashiest skins. So just as it so happens, as I make this video, there's a new outfit, the Venom Bite outfit, and there's the Venom Bite wings and so on. If you want anything on here, it's going to cost you gems. Gems are most efficiently bought with real world money, but I will point out there's a currency exchange. You can buy gems with gold. So you essentially can do dungeons, you can do raids, you can do events, and then you can exchange between gold and gems. And it would be very slow and very tedious, but it is a part of the game. It's actually a part of the game I don't know whether I like very much at this point, but it is there to sort of insulate you if you really, really care about something on the gem store and you don't want to spend real world money. So anyway, of course they put gems at the top because that's their real world currency thing, right? That's how the game earns most of its money. Next, you've got gold. It comes in bronze, silver, and gold itself. Coins, basically everything you buy, a lot of what will be going on is done with gold. Gold as well is what you trade with other players. So if I want to buy something on the trading post, you know, let's say I want to buy this red leather bag, a player is selling it to me for this currency. This is the player currency. There's no direct trading in Guild Wars 2, but there is the global TP, and that's always gold. Other currencies don't hook into it, so you will always care about this. If you're making legendaries, if you're crafting armor for yourself, if you watch my other new player video recently in which I showed you guys all the ways to get good gear as soon as you hit level 80, that's all gold. This is the main currency in the game. There's also karma. Karma's a little bit of a weird one. What you should think of it like is account-bound gold. So it's kind of another big ubiquitous currency that's used in tons of places across the game. What's special about it is it can't be traded amongst other players. The only way to get karma is to actually beat content yourself. To beat dynamic events will award you karma. To beat fractals, you can get karma. To beat raids, you can get karma. Any specific content you actually do is pumping this up. And this is a part of legendary crafting and all kinds of other things. So it's basically kind of a tool, as far as I can understand, to sort of insulate the game against real money traders and bots and stuff, because you can't buy karma off of a gold selling website. You have to earn karma yourself. And so that's kind of why it exists in the game. It's kind of, it's like two sides of the same coin. You've got coins and karma. Coins can be traded, karma will never be. Quite often when you're buying big prestigious items, it's gonna, or you're doing like big difficult crafts, it's gonna ask for both gold and karma together. So then we get spirit shards. Spirit shards is a bit of a weird currency in that you can basically ignore it. Where you mostly get spirit shards from is leveling up after level 80. That's basically the initial idea of where they came from. Guild Wars 2 doesn't continue raising the level cap, so once you get to max, it's like, what do I spend my experience on? Well, it keeps recharging, and if you don't have any masteries left to earn, like I don't, I have all the masteries in the game. If you look at the bottom right of my UI here, under my minimap, I'll move the minimap away. Can you see this? It says Spirit Shard. So when I max out my XP, I'll get a Spirit Shard. There are other ways to get spirit shards, and historically there have been some really, really bloated ways of getting spirit shards as well, which means that some of us have enormous amounts of them. But that's the idea of the currency. It's a bit like karma in as much as, you know, it's from actually playing the game. And really what this mostly is for is prestige skins crafted at the Mystic Forge and other miscellaneous stuff. So I really don't like this, but here, you'll notice on the UI, as I mouse over spirit shards, it says used by Miani. And can you see it's got that little icon? That says show me. It's really subtle. There's not a show me for karma. There's not a show me for gold. It will take you to currency exchange, I suppose. But here, this says show me. So if you actually click this, it will show you where Miani is at the Mystic Forge. It will take you, here you go, as you can see, that's Lion's Arch. Unfortunately, I can't click a waypoint from there. It takes you to the place that you'll spend them, largely. So I'll show you her as a vendor. She's filled with a bunch of random, like almost nonsense looking items that as a new player, as I mentioned a second ago, you can largely ignore. The Mystic Forge is kind of a special form of crafting. I'm shooting this video at Halloween, so it looks like a giant cauldron. When you guys come here, it won't. It's a special form of crafting where you can get lots of special skins and weird hidden recipes and things. And Miani sells you a ton of items. Here they are. See, spirit shards, spirit shards, spirit shards. That will allow you to get stuff for the recipes. So, for example, this bloodstone shard you can throw into the forge with a bunch of other stuff, and you'll get cool stuff. And usually legendary crafting comes from this as well. You'll see it costs 200 shards. So if we rewind the clock and think about launch again, what the devs were essentially saying was, okay, if you want this item in a recipe from the Mystic Forge, you're going to create some cool weapon out of this item. Well, you're going to have to go for 200 level ups, or thereabouts in that area. Again, there have always been other little ways of getting spirit shards, but that was kind of the idea, and back at launch it made more sense. Spirit shards are supposed to be a way of making experience gain always exciting, but the currency became bloated and none of the syncs are really that fun, so it's, like I say, mostly ignorable. Miani is also these days being used as just a dumping ground for random recipes, and it's a complete mess. My advice to you as a new player is don't worry about spirit shards too much. There's a lot more we can talk about with them, how you can sort of use the Mystic Forge with them to generate items and stuff, but maybe that's something for another day. So that's spirit shards. Next is laurels. Laurels are actually quite important. In each of the major cities you can find a laurel vendor, just as Miani is a spirit shard vendor. And so here we're in Lion's Arch now. You can always find the icon. So see here, you can see the same icon as the currency. Up in Divinity's Reach, there's a vendor over here. I guess I'll go show you guys that. Assuming you're all human females, which it tends to be my assumption when people are new. They usually pick a human. So here, check it out. Laurels are something to pay attention to. Now, laurels you're getting basically from logging in and completing achievements. So you see, I've got 105. When I go to my hero panel, I look at the achievements page. Top right, it's going to show you your laurels if you're not just looking at them here under the inventory or in the specific wallet itself. There's lots of places that you can see laurels. Now, one of the main ways you get them is just login rewards. See, so bag of laurels, 2 laurels, 3 laurels, 4 laurels, and then when you get your loyalty chest after lots of days logging in, you can actually pick a special box with tons of laurels. So they just keep building up over time, basically. And then you can earn your own quicker by getting achievement points. So do achievements, get points. This is the track for them. And you'll see when I get a few more achievement points, I'll get a laurel from this box. And then I'll get 2 from this box. And then I'll get 5 from this box, and so on. So you get laurels in that way. They're largely time gated. But they're very important because there's a lot of stuff you can buy from these vendors. They're especially helpful for getting ascended gear. And again, I have another new player guide. If you check out the playlist, it should be there in the description. Someone remind me in the comments if it's not. You can go to that video and I'll talk to you all about the opening ascended gear that you can pick up. But laurels are really, really handy to keep paying attention to and using for those early gear sets that you have before you get into other content that starts dropping this stuff more. The other thing you can do is you can actually just get money from laurels by going to, I mean, if you look here, even I'm mousing around furiously. There's so many items everywhere. You can buy these crafting bags with laurels. And you can get money from these as well. So quite often, if I've got loads of laurels and nothing to spend them on, I'll just spam up a ton of these, open them up, and these will help me craft my own legendaries, or I'll just sell them and get money. So that's something I do for laurels too. As a new player, really consider that as a last resort. You sort of want to hold on to them to get, you know, especially amulets and rings and stuff. So pay attention to laurels. They're basically daily time gated. This is probably a really good time to point out that there are tools online that allow you to tell which item to buy to earn the most money. So this screen here with these crafting bags, I'm kind of showing you guys the tier 6 materials, but sometimes it's actually worth more to buy lower tiers of materials because they trade for more on the player trading post. And now you might wonder, well, how do I know what's exactly worth the most if you're really efficiency obsessed? Well, there are tools outside of the game that help you with that. They help you with any kind of conversion between not just laurels here, but like how to get the most money out of spirit shards, if you like, how to get the most money out of karma, because there do tend to be ways to convert one currency into gold. My main recommendation as a tool is Guild Wars 2 efficiency. This isn't a video guide on that, but after this video, if you guys really care about it, I do recommend you Google it, go from there. Efficiency is brilliant. I've always been a big fan of it. I think when it first came out, I plugged it and we kind of crashed the website with traffic. These days, it's like a cornerstone aspect of being a dedicated Guild Wars 2 player. So if you care about that, that's fine, but don't obsess. Prioritize other stuff as a new player, I say. So, let's quickly recap. Real money currency, gold as you'd expect, an account-bound version of gold for leveling up, prestige items, largely ignorable. A time-gated currency. You can see they all do have their own niche. Next, you've got guild commendations. So at the moment of recording this video, these are not that important. What these come from is doing missions with your guild. So if you open your guild panel, top left, you see this is my guild, the Spud Club. If you click missions, we do have open spaces, by the way, at the time we were recording this video. So if you guys want an invite, you can go to my Discord and see how to do that. You'll see here we got a ton of missions that we can run. The rewards for the missions are these commendations. And there are vendors in the guild hall, just as there was Miani, just as there are laurel vendors, that can sell you other stuff. But generally speaking, those items aren't really that fun or worthwhile anymore. Ascended accessories was the main thing. But, I mean, if you're really into minis and you're really into some rare skins, you can go for this. One of the most important patches the game needs at the moment is more incentive for guild commendations, because as soon as this currency became unhealthy, the idea for being in a guild and running missions and all that just completely fell apart in the game. And, like, the reason we have communities in the game is really suffering because this currency, at the time of this video, isn't that strong. Now, if you're getting some of this new player guide like late, I really recommend you look in the comments and you ask in the comments, hey, are commendations still worthless? Like if you'll get into this video next year or something, and people will let you know. For years and years and years they've been worthless. Who knows if that will change at some point in the future. I hope it does, but there you go. So just like spirit shards, you can kind of ignore this. And finally, the last general currency I think a lot of people will care about, that's transmutation charges. Now on the mouse over here it says you can buy these from the Black Lion Trading Company. What they mean is you can get them for gems. I do not recommend that though. So what are transmutation charges? This is the currency you spend to reskin stuff, which is a real strong point of Guild Wars. If I want to change my chest piece here, for example, to a different outfit, you know, and I've got a bunch of different ones. If I do this, it's got my transmutation charges here on the right, and I can click apply. Now, if you have legendary gear, it's not going to cost you anything to change appearances, so you can really cut down on transmutation costs there. But you'll notice for every little skin I swap, it only costs 1. I have 1,537. That literally means I can reskin 1,537 times in a row before I'd run out. Right, so you can really do a lot with these. Now, why do I have so many? Is it because I spent hundreds of real-world pounds or dollars on the gem store? Absolutely not. What you guys should understand is that these drop in some places in-game. If you play PvP, you get huge amounts of them. If you play World versus World, you also get huge amounts of them. In World versus World, these chests get dumped in your inventory just passively for playing, called skirmish chests. And each skirmish chest, you can pick up transmutation charges. So if you want these, my recommendation is to go to World versus World, because it's kind of PvE slash PvP. It's a casual game type. It's not scary. It's not threatening. And these kind of just passively come in. So try World versus World. You'll be swimming in them. It is a huge waste of money and actually quite grotesque, to be honest, that the game dares to sell these on the gem store, I would say. If you really are scared of World versus World and PvP, what you should know as well, though, and here it's actually handy that it's Halloween right now. When Christmas comes, when Halloween comes, there's several times throughout the year, they have big festivals in Guild Wars. There's lots of them, and they always go really big with them. There's always a festival vendor. So let's see if I can find where they are. I think it might be this. For Halloween specifically, it's probably going to be this guy back here, the guy called Halloween Vendor. But what you guys can do at every single festival, it doesn't matter what it is, you can buy transmutation charges. Oh god, is it him? I mean, you will, here you go, it's this guy. You will have a bit of messing around, but for festival currencies. Now, this is time gated, obviously, because it's only while the festival's going on, and it can be quite expensive. I personally do not think that's worthwhile, a candy cane cob or a transmutation charge, but do know that it exists. They're available on festival vendors, no matter what the festival is, and that's kind of your next big place. So if you really like the fashion, there you go. You do have a PvE option as well. So that's really it, guys. You don't have to worry much more, and I'll show you why. Because the next section, competitive currencies, these only matter for PvP players. And it's the same general, PvP and World versus World players. And it's the same general principle. While you're playing in those game types, you'll get these items, which you can trade at vendors for special stuff there. That's it. And we don't have to go into the specifics. You can ignore them, or you can go and look at what's available on the vendor, see if there's something you want to buy. Next, there's map currencies. Now, this is a big one, isn't it? Wow, there's a lot on here. This is just like what I demonstrated in Path of Fire a second ago. If we are in the one map of the game, Dry Top, okay, which is a Living World Season 2 map over here, this character hasn't even been to, okay? While we're there, we collect geodes from the events we do, and then we can go to a vendor to spend those geodes. Same principle in the map above it. Bandit crests, they're here at the Silverways. And you'll see each time there's a little show me icon, right? Every time, oh, well, for these first two there are. I guess the devs are a little inconsistent with this. But then you get into the first expansion. Airship Parts is the first map. Second map is Lumps of Aurelian, Leyline Crystals. Provisioners tokens you might actually be interested in once you get to crafting legendaries. They're daily time gated. Honestly, these probably deserve to be a general currency. The devs have used them more and more as the years have gone along. But again, they're generally ignorable for actual new players. I mean, if you're hyper efficiency minded, you might want to start. Maybe I'll make a video guide on that at some point. Then you've got raid currencies, Living World season currencies, and so on. This whole map section don't worry as a new player, because all that's going to happen is you'll eventually go to a map and you just look at what it's showing you underneath. And those are the ones that you're going to find most interesting and are actually relevant to you. There's also this idea of keys. Once again, these used to be items that filled everyone's inventory, and they just said, fine, we'll make them a currency. So on a lot of maps, you'll find chests that you want to unlock in some way. So there are bandit chests in the Silver Waste where you get keys from that in the Silver Waste, and they just put them in here as well to save you on inventory space. In the Auric Basin in the first expansion, there are golden chests which you get with the exalted keys, and there are Chak Acid to dissolve another kind of chest, and so on. That's all that these are. And in fact, these bottom three, possibly by the time you get to this video, won't even be in the game anymore because the devs just did a blog post announcing they're getting deleted. Likewise for dungeons, people don't really play dungeons too much anymore, but these top ones are fractal currencies. If you're playing fractals or just regular dungeons, you get currencies in those formats, and there they are. And then lastly, you have the black line currencies, which I actually did already go over here. Whoops, with that misclick there. You got transmutation charges and gems, but don't let them deceive you. Transmutation charges are not worth buying on the gem store. They're better just earning in-game, again, via World vs. World. So that's my rundown on currencies. The main takeaway here is you can use the user interface to see what currencies are relevant. Don't worry or panic about juggling and thinking of them all at once. Most of the time, it's not going to matter. The important ones are the general ones, which hopefully I've explained quite well to you. Now, we could dive into specifics, like I said with the provision of tokens a second ago, or like on the dungeon panel, you might think, oh, fractals, what's really good with the fractal currencies? I feel like that's more like a fractal new player guide video, though, and more for like the specific areas. So if you guys are interested in those as well, I mean, I'm totally down for it, as long as people want to see them. So let me know. Again, I do just want to say, I have a lot of veterans watching, and I know this video won't have been mind-blowing, so hopefully this gets under the eyes I'm looking for it to get to, which are the new players out there. So thank you very much, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one very soon. Keep your questions and ideas coming for new player guides, and I'll produce more. Thanks, guys. See you soon.